Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities. Joining me at the desk, as always, Luther Dupree Jr., Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. Bunch of big-time pay-per-view fights coming up, fellas. We have lots to talk about. Let's get right to it. Again, we're going to touch on it a little bit more. Spence Ugas on the April 16th. Good, Luth, your thoughts on it?
You know how I feel about Errol the Spence Truth. He's the man. I think it should be more publicity about this fight. Yeah. This guy's coming back. He had a bad eye injury, a car injury. He's coming back. He's fighting Ugas, who just retired, Manny Pacquiao, and looked good doing it. I mean, Ugas is a solid fighter. Jim talks about the losses, but he's been robbed. I saw him against Sean Porter. He won that fight, and the judges snatched it from him. Listen, Errol Spence, I think, is one of the top 2 or 3 fighters in the sport right now. After he gets through this, we're looking at young Errol Spence. He just dominates. He goes to the body like no other. I love everything about him, man. His fights are always exciting. He has a great fan base, despite what Smoking Jim says in Dallas.
Like you said.
Dallas Stadium is going to be completely packed. And I'm excited for the fight, man. He can do everything you want. He comes forward, he has a great jab, great defense, and he goes to the body. Everything you need. I love him. He's coming back. The Truth, I say the Truth gets a stoppage, I think maybe in about 9 rounds. I'm going with Errol Spence with a knockout. He'll start his knockout streak. 9-round TKO. He's been knocking out heavyweights in sparring. He looks great in the sparring. Look at that, man. He got the fire back. He's a monster.
Jim, let me ask you a question before I ask your opinion on the fight. We've never really seen Errol Spence in trouble during a fight.
Never.
Okay. How do we know what kind of chin he has? How do we know what kind of resiliency he has? How do we know? How many times have you and I said, we like to see the guy, the main guy, when he doesn't have the ball, when he's not winning? How does he come back? We talked about Mike Tyson against Buster Douglas. He knocked Buster down in the 10th. So we know Tyson had heart. And he's, I'm not saying Spence doesn't have heart, but what do you expect if Ugas pressures him?
Well, we won't see it here either, because you need a crossover with somebody with a pulse. But
don't disrespect Ugas like that.
Can I put these? We got a lot of fights coming up. Can I put them in the order that I would have interest?
Can we talk about this one first, though?
Well, you already talked it.
And we're asking you this question. Can you talk about this fight? We can put them in order whenever.
I'm done with that.
So you have no interest in this fight?
No.
Okay, well, you know what?
So what's your
the American? I speak for America.
Good. Which fights are you interested in? He's going to the notebook, Luth.
The thing for most interest, number 1, the Canelo fight.
Nobody wants to see that fight.
Number 2, 120,000 people.
That can't sell out. No, they still didn't sell it out. They
Whyte.
still didn't sell that out.
Number 3, Tank and Rolly. And number 4.
We're going to give him some reading glasses. Put your glasses on, man.
Nobody is interested in Spence Ugas. So that got to be 4.
See, people like you is why the sport isn't bigger in boxing. You're talking about a guy who retired a legend in Ugas because he doesn't speak, because it's the Cuban bias, because he has alopecia. Jim, listen, that's why. It's the bias. You talk about the redhead bias. Let's talk about his condition bias. He doesn't speak English. Cuban, look at that. Great body, great form. He's always in shape. He trains with his wife. They have a great following on TikTok and social media. Great videos, him and his wife training together. But look at Ugas, good power in his hands. He was just destroying Figueroa Jr. This is what he had a little bit more here, but he was destroying him. Look at him, man. I mean, goes to the body. He's always in shape. He knows how to tie. He's great. He beat Bud Crawford in the amateurs.
He had an afro then.
Now, see, you always got to go to the fashion.
I'm just saying.
No afro.
I'm agreeing with you.
Afro. Come on, man. Look at him now. But he goes to the body. Look at this. This guy, he understands the sweet sides. He's Cuban school. He always gives you everything. The only reason he has 4 losses is because he got robbed in America numerous times, Jim.
Well, he's the first Cuban that they opened the gate for him.
Jim, you're sick. You're a sick man.
They paid his way to come. Now, you said ninth round.
There you go. They got a great.
My.
They got,
wait a minute. I'm interested.
He likes him.
I knew how to get
Ugas to with a knockout.
We put those out there.
Ugas with a knockout.
Yeah, I'm interested in this
Listen,
fight.
they have a great.
Oh, my.
Hey, the brother knows how to style. And he knows how to
Ugas
pick
in
his
three.
That's him?
women.
Ugas
that's
in three.
Ugas. Yeah, that's Ugas.
Ugas in 3, right?
Jim see his fiance now. Oh, I'm interested now.
Oh, I know Spence wish he could see her.
You're not going to disrespect Earl to Spence Truth, one of the top 3 boxers in the sport. After Ugas, let's hope it's Bud Crawford and Spence. Bud Crawford needs to sign a deal with PBC, but we don't know what's going on. Spence just put something out about
I don't see
PBC.
Bud Crawford nowhere in these questions.
Well, listen, but I'm saying that fight. What's the most anticipated fight in the sport? Crawford versus Spence.
What does Claudia always say? Spence better not overlook this guy.
No, exactly. But you was just talking about you was overlooking it.
He was
It didn't
looking
matter.
at something
Now
else.
you're interested. I knew how to get you
else.
interested, Jill. Certain pictures.
Now, you
Oh, my
said ninth
goodness.
round, though. Is it going to be a competitive
It's going to
9
be
rounds?
very competitive.
He's just going to
but
catch
I
him.
think the body work is going to get to Ugas. I've seen Ugas in fights before. The body work.
So that look, those abs don't make a difference.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
can
just a
have
look.
abs, but if you can't take it to the body, you can't take it to the body. You know, even Evander Holyfield, you
Yeah.
could get him to the body. And we know he was in shape and whatever else he had. But you could get him to the body and hurt him.
Mexicans like Canelo, like Golden Boy said, the black fighters can't take
And
it to the body.
neither can they. De La Hoya got dropped by
That's
Bernard
right.
Hopkins with a body shot. Dropped immediately. Body shots do it. You hit them in the right place. I don't care, black, Mexican, white, UK. You get hit in the body the right way,
You
you're going
it's
to
gonna
drop.
hurt, right.
It ain't like you got a certain color, you get hit in the body, you done. Body shots hurt, Jim.
How
You
did
ain't
Rock-
never been hit in the body.
How did Rocky Marciano take the body shots?
Rocky Marciano, he could take it off.
saying.
He could take it off. He was a monster. and he
man.
had some help, too.
No, let's not start that. We didn't have no
I
help.
thought I could slide that
All
through,
right.
Claudio.
Crowbarring that stuff
to
in.
crowbar it.
He's looking like one of us now with the suit. All right. Fury Whyte, April 23rd.
Nobody cares.
I do. I'm interested in it. I
Nobody
think it's going to be a good
cares.
fight. I think Fury's going to go down. He's going to get back up. He's going to win the fight.
The
I think
PED
Dillian Whyte
championship.
is going to get more respect after a loss than he did after all his wins. I'm interested in it.
Well, let's see. I'm hoping they both pass the test. We know they both have a history of failing PEDs. That's why I
Do you
call
think
it
anybody's
PED.
legit and above a C-level fighter?
Listen, if you fail a PED test, I'm on you your whole career. Because, I mean, this is life and death. We've seen
Right.
too many people die. And when you put something illegal
Hitting a
in
ball
your
is
body,
one thing. Hitting a person is
hitting a
another,
person with illegal substances or gloves that have been, manipulated, I don't like that.
But don't you think with all that circulating, they're going to keep a little bit more of an eye on everybody?
No. I don't believe so. We saw a couple weeks ago this year, there was a guy that went in there with gloves that were tainted.
Fundora?
It wasn't. It was not Fundora. It was not Fundora. Don't even put that out there. Don't even put that out there, Smokey Jim. But this is a fight. It's interesting. Shouldn't be on pay-per-view.
I'm with you there.
Neither one of these guys
I'm with you there.
move the needle. The guy that moves the needle in heavyweight boxing is still Deontay Wilder. Nobody's talking about it. This fight is coming up this month. Nobody cares because both of these guys they're good boxers, but they're not at that level. You get the crowd excited. As much as they try to crowbar Fury and crowbar Whyte, those guys don't move the needle.
You know what I don't understand, though? We've talked about this. I've talked about this, and I'm beating it to death. But Fury does have a personality. He is the champion. He is undefeated. He has fought some wars. Why doesn't his management team contact these late night shows? Remember before Ali would go on Carson, George Foreman would go on Carson,
Nobody cares.
Evander Holyfield, Buster went on. All these people go on these talk shows to promote.
Because he's not even loved in the UK.
But still, okay.
He's not
but
even
go
loved
out-
in the
am I
UK. You
wrong,
think
Jim?
you're gonna be loved?
Promote yourself, and the management team should go out there and talk about this fight, and maybe have. Remember when Cosell interviewed Frazier and Ali, and they had a little bit of a tussle in the studio. People said, "Oh man, get something going, stir some things up." Am I wrong, Jim?
Yes. And it's because
Cut him off. Luke.
Yes.
I agree with you.
You
Flip-flop.
Flip-flop.
Now,
Go ahead.
Here's the thing.
Spin.
Because
Doctor of spin.
from a marketing standpoint, I'm a marketing man. From a marketing standpoint, it's a waste of time to promote heavyweights in the United States because there's no heavyweights in the United States.
Fake
But
news.
people like boxing.
Fake news.
Richard Torres
Oh,
won the first medal for a heavyweight in the Olympics in 33 years.
It was a silver
The
medal.
best
Silver.
the heavyweights used to be all United States champions. Now, for the last 40 years, they're overseas. That's why Sugar Ray Leonard in 1980 got $10 million for the first Durant fight, and Wilder only got $8 million.
Jim,
you
don't know,
50 years
Jim,
later.
you don't even know how much he got. We're not talking this
Well,
pocket
I'm
watch
just
and
saying.
stuff. Answer
I'm
the
just
question.
saying, they're popular outside of the United States.
How? They're
You don't
not-
think
they're
Fury
not
would
even
pop-
sold
You don't
out.
think Fury would be popular here?
Pardon me?
You don't think Fury would?
It would be a waste of time
No.
because there's no heavyweights here in the United
Fury was
States.
only popular because it was Wilder haters.
Because,
and
listen,
now you're seeing
can
the
you
evidence
imagine
of it.
33 years to get a medal? Not even, it took 33 years.
I don't think
We're
people
not
care
talking about the
I don't think
amateurs.
people
We're
care
ta-
about that anymore.
Listen,
I
man,
think
the point-
Fury can go on a show with his personality,
Yeah.
joking around,
Yeah.
wearing those loud ass clothes. He's going to draw attention to the non-boxing. Oh, you know what? I'm going to watch that guy.
He would fill out a 19,000-seat arena, or he can do what he's been doing
No, I
and fill out
understand. But I'm talking about for
120,000
pay-per-view.
seats.
But he's
I'm talking about
never
for
done
pay-per-view.
that. But he doesn't
he's
do
going
that.
to fill out
He's getting
Wembley.
30 he's getting $30
That doesn't mean he's
million.
filling the arena.
Well,
That
the guy
arena-
says
He got
It's
12
not
million.
It's not
He got
packed.
12 million
There's
for
plenty
beating
of-
up Wilder. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
come
you know,
on,
we're
man.
not- we're
It's
not-
night and day.
But I'm saying jack up the pay-per-views. I mean,
Right
okay,
now, a guy like
Listen,
Wilder,
guys,
a
that's
guy
not
like
gonna
a
be a big
Wilder
pay-per-view.
should be getting no less than 75 million to fight. Him and Fury, but it's down. He
No, but
was
Luther, I'm
happy to
saying-
get the 8 million.
Jim,
Luther,
you don't
I'm
know.
saying-
First of all,
His
you don't know how
wife
much.
said,
You don't
"Take
know
it."
how much he
His
even
wife
got.
said, "Take
You don't know
it."
how much he got. Listen, he got enough where if he wants to retire, he could. But I believe he's coming back. Listen, the point is,
He'll come back like Joe Louis
the
came
point
back.
is,
bro.
they tried to push Fury, make him this guy, had him dressing up, with the Rocky shorts, with the USA, had him coming in with the Mexican garb. It didn't go over. He wasn't selling out here. He's not a big star in the UK because he's not that great.
But they didn't even
as a
promote him during
personality.
those 3 fights, and those were mega fights. Those
They
guys
tried
weren't
to.
on shows.
They tried
Social
to.
media is great, and you
No,
talk
they
about-
tried to put him on every fight. They tried. Nobody was
I'm talking about on
interested.
TV, interview him, let people know the
You guys are
personality.
trying to make
Saudi
guys stars
Arabia
who are-
don't want Wilder. They bury him in that sand. They want Joshua. They want Fury.
No,
they don't want Wilder.
well, why
There's
didn't
money
happen,
out
man?
there.
Jim,
All three of us are
okay,
saying
why
Fury,
didn't
though.
happen? It didn't happen.
Joshua's going to fight.
It didn't happen. Did it happen? He fought
He's
Ruiz.
going to fight the
then.
Ukraine in Saudi
Usyk.
Arabia.
Usyk.
Yeah.
So all three of us have
That's
Fury.
great. That's nice. And nobody's even caring about that.
Nobody's here in this country because
Or
they're all playing
overseas.
basketball and football.
Overseas,
And
those
Too Tall
guys
Jones
don't move
want
the
to see
needle.
it.
Those guys
All
aren't
three of
moving
us.
the needle.
All three of us have Fury, right?
Yeah, Fury, depending on how he comes in, we don't know.
I'm not. I tell you what. I haven't
right.
gave my opinion. I tell
Let's-
you what. Right now, Whyte is perfectly positioned himself for an upset. Now, I know y'all don't like me mentioning Rocky Marciano.
You know I do.
But listen, he's taken a page from Rocky. He's been training. He won't break training camp for nothing.
Training.
He's going to come in the best shape of his life. I tell you what, the guy that Prince Charles that fought
Charles Martin.
that fought Luis
Luis
Ortiz,
Ortiz.
he was in the best shape of his life
And
for
got
that Ortiz
knocked
fight.
out.
He got knocked out, but
And
look, he
look-
looked good.
Yeah, that
he
was his
looked
best
in
fight.
shape.
Yeah.
He put Ortiz down a couple times. He'll never fight that good again. That's what you're going to see from Whyte. You're going to see the best Whyte you ever see, even better than when he was a kickboxer.
Glass jaw White. We've seen him with a glass jaw. We'll see if it gets broke again.
Well,
I mean, this
well
guy,
it's okay because Fury can't punch. He can only punch around 167 guy.
All right. Now, we'll start with you, Canelo against Bivol. I'm interested in this fight, and I'll
Everybody should.
go. Your thoughts on this?
Well, I like Bivol. I would never, if I was his people, this guy got a future in boxing, but nobody's the same after they go through the changes with Canelo.
That looked pretty good to me the other day.
He
man.
retired more people than Social Security.
who did he retire?
Just about everybody he's fought has
Fake.
never been the same.
Triple G's still fighting at 40.
Yeah,
okay.
you said he don't look good.
Not 'cause of- not
poor-
'cause of those two fights with
poor
Canelo.
Triple G.
He
But
40 still
listen,
fighting. Get out of here with that.
Plant
man.
looked pretty good the other
Plant
day.
looked
Listen,
great.
Canelo,
So
yeah,
does
Plant
Whyte.
ain't
Yeah,
fought
really.
since. Plant ain't fought since. He done grew a beard to hide some of
He
them
always
cuts on
had,
his
he always
chin.
had a beard.
But listen, this is going to be Canelo sets more traps than any other boxer
does.
in boxing history, other than Jersey Joe Walcott. This is what people are not seeing. He's one of the top 5 pound for pound
You
that
keep
ever
saying this
lived.
doesn't make it true.
But he's smart. But when he sets those traps, you got to make sure you don't get hit. Bivol can hit.
Yeah, but yes,
You see how big he is? There's going to be, and again, the big question is.
I would have thought he had more power. He has good size, but
The question is, does Canelo's chin
Canelo
and power
Canelo
go
shows
up?
he has a pretty good chin.
But does it go up?
I don't know. I've seen him. You know, he looks like a monster. He put on 10 pounds of muscle.
Okay, is he going to be able to set traps? Is he going to be able to move?
Hey,
Is he
I
going
don't-
to?
listen.
Is the speed going to be there?
It's-
Because you know yourself, like in baseball, you and I know it's hair timing, right?
Somehow
In boxing-
Canelo puts on 10, 20 pounds
And he's quicker.
and gets stronger, and he gets faster at the same time. I've never seen anything like that in my life, all natural.
what hurt Roy
But-
Jones moving up.
Yeah.
You know, when he
Well,
came
And
again-
then when he came back down.
he
But
wasn't the
Canelo
same.
somehow can just jump back and
Yeah,
forth
because
and
he's more
loses
dedicated.
nothing.
Am I wrong in
He
saying
ain't
the
chicken
body?
fighting and cockfighting and
The body
playing
looked a little
basketball
softer.
before the fight.
Did the body look a little softer than it has before for Canelo? Thus far,
did,
right now.
It did. But I saw some pictures of
he
him
ripped.
training for this. He looks ripped now.
Oh, I didn't see
yes,
that. Okay, my
we'll,
fault.
we'll have him for the next show. He looks ripped, looks like a little mini Incredible Hulk.
He always
and it is
did.
10
He
pounds.
always did.
No. We're going to compare when he fought Floyd till now.
Why don't
It's
we
no
compare
comparison.
Michael Moore at 175 and the fat Michael Moore at 230?
Oh, see, no, listen.
That's what I want to. I want to see that gut. That's the gut I want to see.
Listen, Canelo is in amazing shape. We'll have pictures next time. I saw.
We're gonna
some-
talk our
I saw
predictions,
that.
but I just-
I'm not that interested because we already know he's going to beat Bivol
You're
and he's
not-
going to fight Triple G.
You more interested in Harrison than you are Canelo?
I didn't say that.
Oh,
This is not
I'm
I
wondering
just-
what you're
I
saying.
just said Harrison
Well, you
fought
say
a great fight. I'm not. We know Canelo's going to beat him in 12, and he's fighting Triple G next. That's what's going to happen. You know, Bivol, yes, it's a great. It's not a great fight. People wanted Charlo. People wanted Benavidez. That would have been great for boxing.
Charlo and Benavidez
Why
fight
doesn't
each other?
Canelo got undisputed? Why not defend it one time before you move up?
Again,
You jumping up to
Again.
fight Bivol that nobody wanted.
Sonny Liston
We're
banned
not
it.
going
Sonny
60 years
Liston
back.
was banned
Jersey
it
Joe
from fighting
Walcott.
for a heavyweight
Sugar Ray
championship.
Robinson.
But what he
Come
did was
on.
he didn't sit back and suck his thumb.
He
He
fought.
beat everybody that was up for a championship
okay.
fight. It took 6 years.
Well,
for
Canelo
President
doesn't.
Kennedy,
Canelo takes-
and I know
Canelo-
you're interested in President Kennedy.
Canelo
files.
takes
I heard that
franchise
on one of your
belts.
shows.
Thank you.
President Kennedy said, "You guys must fight Sonny Liston." So what? He been in and out of jail since he was 8.
Here we
His
go with a
dad
jail
used
blotter.
it as a
Jail-
mule.
You
Yeah,
he
always,
did. Yeah, he
you
did.
always got the jail news.
You
And
can
the
get
women-
it.
Wikipedia.
and the women news.
Oh, I knew you were going to find a way to talk about a jail record somehow.
Now, another fight is coming May 28th. And again, we're going to go into these fights more in depth. We're going to touch on them now. Tank Davis, Rolly Romero, which I think is going to be I think the press conference is going to be entertaining and the fight itself. I don't see these guys shaking hands after the fight like all
Can
these
Tank
rivalries.
make the weight? Can Tank make the weight?
Tank has not missed weight in how many fights now? There you go, always trying to slide.
I'm just
Listen,
asking.
Tank Davis is at war. He's at war with Rolly. He's at war
Floyd.
with Floyd. He's at war with everybody. You know, so I think he's going to be ready. You know, I saw the first press conference and Floyd decided to have his own press conference at the same time. I don't know what that's about. But I think this is going to be a war. These guys don't like each other. Tank Davis is a monster out there, man. You know, he broke his hand, beat a guy with one
Right.
fist. And we get to see Isaac Cruz on the undercard of Spence Ugas. So I'm going to see that
I
one.
would like to see.
I'm
the
going to ask you a
doctor
question.
tell
You
me
talked
that.
about I forgot when it was or even who it was. It may have been Floyd or Oscar when you said you don't like when a promoter talks about his own fights and kind of dismisses his. Was that the Oscar fighter? Who was that you were talking about?
Probably Floyd. It was black. It's a black. It had to be a black guy. That's Floyd. It's Jim.
So
Of course
talk
it's gonna
about
be-
that,
Of course it's gonna
maybe
be the-
overshadowing
Of course it's going to
Tank.
be the black guy. It's just Jim.
Yeah, it would. You know, listen. Again, I think Tank Davis is leaving Floyd. For both of them are at fault, in my opinion. First of all, I
You
don't
think
know.
Tank's at fault?
Listen, I don't know number one, Tank has already peaked. I think he's going on the other side.
How'd he peak?
Number two, I don't know if he's out of the gangs. Because I mean, he's acting
Oh,
real.
now
No, listen,
now
let me
you're
just
a
say
gang
this.
expert.
No, he's
Okay,
acting.
Jim, how
he's
many
acting-
jobs do you
he's
got?
act-
No,
he's acting
is he a lot of crip,
He's
Jim?
acting real thuggish. In the one press conference, he said, "Listen, I'll make some phone calls to put you down." You know what I mean? Now, he said that's gang. That's gang language.
That's just
So,
talk. And Mike
I
Tyson said he
don't-
was going to eat Lennox Lewis's kids.
Yeah,
And then praise
but he
God to
didn't say he
Allah the
was
next
gonna-
sentence.
He didn't say he was going to make some calls and
Oh,
get some
Jim,
pigeons.
Jim,
Get an army of
Can you
pigeons.
stick to the topic, Jim?
Army of pigeons.
But like I said, the guys, he's on the other side.
How?
I look at the size of his head. This man got a head the size of
No,
light
now
heavyweight.
you measured it.
How-
Did
how's
you
he-
measure it in his hand?
How's
Man,
he
he's
on
gonna
that
gain
other side,
weight.
though? What makes you say he's losing
Well, his
it?
last two fights, number one, the
Yeah,
guy,
bust-
the pit bull backed him up.
He
How you
broke
get
his
back
hand
up?
and won
How you
with
gonna
one
be a
hand.
tank and get backed up by a
Jim,
pit
did he
bull?
win the fight with one hand? Yes or
No,
no?
I didn't see any evidence.
You didn't
that
see
his
it.
hand
You didn't
was
see
hurt.
it.
No, I
Say you
seen
didn't
the
see
fight.
it.
Did you see any evidence that the
Somebody
hand
was standing in
hurt?
front of him at the casino. He couldn't see the.
God.
What did he
Right.
say? Were you taking his word for it?
I saw he didn't throw it, and I saw after the fight he had it wrapped up
Well,
and he
I
had
seen
surgery,
seen
and he's
him
back
backing
now.
up. I seen him backing up.
Okay, yeah, what hand?
Okay.
Pitbull was an undefeated
I think it's going to
solid
be.
fighter.
How do you think the numbers are going to be? Pay-per-view numbers. These are all pay-per-view fights, by the way.
200, 250,000, 250,000, 300,000,
I'm gonna ask you
it's,
this again.
I don't think it should be on pay-per-view. I think it should be
Oh,
on.
okay.
No, I don't. I know Tank Davis only fights on pay-per-view, but I think this is a fight Showtime or Fox
That'd
or
be
something.
big time.
That would be great. Everybody would be, because,
As a fighter, I wouldn't fight for under 10 million pay-per-views, man. I mean,
10 million pay
10 million
You know how many
pay-per-views.
people? You know how many people got 10 million pay-per-views? Come on now.
Well, Mancini talked about I forgot who it was he fought, 2 million views on CBS, and then they made a big deal about Floyd, 600,000. With all the back then,
Can I just say one thing? The WWE just had the WrestleMania.
Oh,
1
gosh.
billion, 1 billion views.
Worldwide.
1
World-
billion.
worldwide.
Well, you're
Pay-per-views
allowed to work
worldwide.
Okay,
worldwide.
worldwide.
You're allowed.
That's nice,
You're
Jim.
allowed.
That's
They
nice,
need to take
Jim.
a page out of there.
And-
What, make it-
why? Why?
Make it
Promotion.
fake?
Yes.
And then
Promote,
make it
promote,
entertaining.
promote,
It-
yeah.
it's entertaining.
Make it entertaining.
And fake. And fake.
well, but people
you already
like
know
it
who's
though.
gonna win.
People like it though. Let me ask you this, Luke, and we
Setups.
talked about
Setups.
this, not to get away
More
from,
setups.
from the fights.
Come on, man.
But-
Let's stick to the fights. man.
But with social, you have Twitter, Facebook,
We talking wrestling. Come
TikTok.
on, Jim.
Dude, we have all these different venues. Years ago, you had what? TV, newspaper, radio.
yeah.
And how come there were more views back then?
Thank
how
you.
come we knew that? Again, we knew that Boom Boom wanted to win the title for his dad. We don't know anything about Romero. We don't know anything about Tank Davis. We don't know anything
You
about.
know he beat
but
those
anyway.
charges. Those bogus charges from the last fight.
But we don't know. I mean, there's fight news. There's the internet. Why isn't?
And he
Why
likes
aren't these?
meat
I
coats
blame
in
the
summer
management company.
in L.A. Who we know about Rolly?
I won't go into too much detail on this. There was a very famous fighter. They wrote a book on him, and he had a what do you call it? A book signing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was nobody at this book signing, maybe about 30, 40 people. So the guy said, "Man, why isn't there many people?" Well, it was not the right area to have a book signing. So, can you talk to the publishing company? I said, well, all right. I talked to this lady at this very well-known publishing company. She said, sir, I attended this major university and graduated in journalism. I said, well, you may have graduated, but you didn't take advantage of that education, because why the hell would you put it? I could have promoted that better.
Right,
Nobody
right.
knew this event. Nobody wanted to go to this. It was just a bad thing. You know, as I said, there's an old sugar packet. He who has a thing, it was written on this, I have it in my office. He who has a thing to sell and goes and whispers in a well is not apt to get the dollars as he who climbs a tree and hollers. So promote. These are great fights. Okay, I know Spence Ugas is interesting, and they're going to sell out Dallas. And I'm going to ask you a question real quick, and I think you might disagree. But it might do good numbers live. Boxing is doing great. But I'm talking about pay-per-view numbers. The Wilder Fury pay-per-view should have been through the damn roof.
Great
Okay?
card,
Now,
great
let me ask you
fighter,
guys
yeah.
a question about, and this is not a knock on, I'm just asking a question. On WWE fights.
Love it.
Wait a minute now. They'll say 40,000 people. But then I hear, I don't know how true it is, that maybe a lot of those tickets are being given away
That's
so they
what
can
it
fill
is.
up the house.
Exactly.
They don't give nothing away. They don't give nothing away.
But to fill up the house, because this way you make money on
everybody-
All these
concessions.
guys,
Everybody-
listen,
Am I right?
all these promoters do
Everybody-
it. You know what
they-
boxing's missing? Don King. Don King, you know, yeah, he was robbing the fighters.
But everybody knew who the fighters were.
Everybody knew he was
And the
out there.
undercards were good.
Undercards, the
But
stat
Luther,
cards.
why is it that-
These guys, the
But my
promoters
point-
aren't out there promoting
Right,
their guys
but
like
my point with that book signing, this is your job. Don't just say, okay, go out there and no, let people know that this event
Because
is
you got
here.
guys like Bob Arum saying he's the promoter. Terrence Crawford didn't promote himself. But you're the promoter.
You're the promoter.
Now listen, that's what I'm saying.
But
Don
put
King,
the-
we
put-
don't have those
Put Terrence
those
Crawford in
promoters
the
like
position
that.
Floyd Mayweather.
to do that. Well, Floyd promoted. You hated him or liked him. Evil Knievel. Some people wanted to see him.
He ain't, as a promoter,
Who?
Floyd's not very good.
It worked. People came to see him. He would talk mess.
Floyd-
No,
on
not
TV.
him as a fighter. I'm talking about him as a promoter.
Yeah, you
Because
might
he's
be
still
right
promoting
there.
himself.
Yeah,
He's still
yeah.
promoting himself.
Evil Knievel.
While
half
while
people-
his fighters are having a press conference,
Yeah,
he's promoting
yeah,
an
yeah,
exhibition
yeah.
on some
guy-
helipad
right.
in Saudi Arabia or
But
something.
Evil Knievel, some people wanted to see him crash, some
Yeah,
people wanted to see him make
yeah.
it. But he was a great promoter. He'd go on these shows and talk. ABC.
Floyd played
I
the
want to
part.
see Wilder crash.
Oh, see that?
But I just think there's.
I mean, in the ring. And he did. He did. He
But there's
crashed.
so many
Somebody talking
opportunities
about
now,
that,
Luke.
Jim. Yeah,
Again, that's
hatred of Wilder, your
there's so
jealousy
many-
of Wilder is disgusting.
There's so many opportunities. Even Spence, who had his accident, had different things happen. He has a story. People want to connect to you. There's reasons why people
Promoting in
like
boxing is
fighters.
terrible.
Suicide is real.
Well,
See,
hey, there's people out there who have.
promoting in boxing is not good.
Who do you blame?
I blame the promoters,
Thank you.
of course. You know,
Yeah.
I blame the promoters.
That's
It's
dumb.
not good.
Because
yeah.
you're money in your damn pocket too for promoting.
Yeah.
Don't be lazy. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
You're being lazy.
I don't
Let,
see-
let Dillian Whyte go promote. Yeah, let him go, but put him in the opportunities to promote. Nobody knows anything about him except for Jim and that notebook.
I'm Oscar De La Hoya and I'm an alcoholic. I mean, promotion is promotion.
Promotion
right?
is promotion.
People will get behind you
Yeah, just don't
if you're
put-
on.
There's
Just don't
an
show
old
those
clip.
pictures
Hey.
of De La Hoya and his fistnets.
Hey,
Again, he may get another
you might,
audience if he does that.
Reggie
I don't
Jackson
know.
one time was doing an interview with, I believe, with Dick Schaap in a hallway of the stadium. And I don't know who Reggie was talking to, but he was talking to some ball player. He said, "Come here, watch me." He says, "Watch how I do this. I'll put money in your palm." And Reggie knew how to start. Reggie Vision, Panasonic, the Puma. Reggie Jackson was brilliant in promoting Reggie, but he backed it up too. The Reggie bar,
Muhammad
so on and so.
Ali was the best.
But Muhammad didn't do great. He did great in the ring and all that. But he didn't. How many endorsements he get?
Well,
I'm talking about the whole thing. Reggie
Well, when he
promoted.
changed his name, that kind of hurt.
but
hurt his
people love Muhammad.
marketability.
Maybe.
You know,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
loved him
Right.
more after he wasn't
he
talking.
couldn't market pork chops at that point.
But my point is, again,
Come
all
on,
these
man.
fighters have a story, okay?
But you need promoters.
You need
There's
promoters.
there's only
Then
certain-
they should do it themselves. The damn fighters should say, "Hey, wait a minute. I'll make calls." You mean to tell me if a Fury or whoever, maybe not Romero right now, but he can't pick up a phone and say, "Hey, I want to be on your show." Hell yeah, you'll be on my show.
Muhammad Ali and Lau Alzada could put 75,000 into a stadium.
In Denver. They
In
were smart
Denver.
putting it in
Yeah,
Denver
yeah.
because that's where
You know,
Alzado played.
But you got to have some help. Wilder was no help for that promotion.
Jim,
He was
just
no
sitting there.
help.
He didn't.
Listen, he
And that's
still
why he
moves.
only got $8
He
million.
still moves the needle, and your pocket watch. Would you take it?
I
So
would-
stop
I
talking
would-
about
would
it.
you
Jim.
work for
I'm
$2
done.
an
I'm
hour?
done. Jim,
Would you
I'm
work
not.
for
I'm
$2
done.
an
You're
hour?
talking like $8 million.
Yeah.
Is not. Come on,
Yeah,
and
well,
you don't know
Tyson was
exactly
getting
how much.
4,000.
Quit
I
pocket
will say
watching,
this,
Jim.
Luther.
Quit
$30
pocket watching.
If we didn't
You
know
don't
the
know how much
numbers,
he got.
if he should from
we don't
from
know.
the outside.
We don't even know.
We're saying
And
these
there's
guys
money
both,
on the back end. You don't know how much he got.
But if it is 8,
We don't
that's a
know.
crime.
So why talk like you know? Quit pocket watching. You guys
That's a
love
major.
pocket
That is
watching.
the major heavyweight fight trilogy. They should have gotten.
We don't know.
20
How,
each.
neither one of you are or
I don't
me
know.
knows exactly how much because there's
They
money that
should've
comes
got-
on the
they
back
should've got
end.
75 million each. With that
Oh
8 million
man,
and
let's
12
stick to
million.
boxing. This pocket
But
watching.
why is it they're only getting 200 views, 300,000?
Because
Why
people
not?
have other choices, and in the U.S., boxing is not as big as it
But not
used
just
to be.
U.S. because the pay-per-view numbers count in UK too. They do the accumulation. Don't just do U.S.
Now, who had some of the better pay-per-view numbers?
If you
Well,
look at the
Floyd.
top 10, Floyd has 6 of them.
Yeah.
he against De La Hoya.
No, not against De
Tyson.
La Hoya. Against anybody. Canelo,
Canelo
Pacquiao.
carried,
You know what I mean?
Pacquiao
No.
carried.
This is Floyd has 6.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm
The
just
one
saying,
thing, though, one
Floyd
thing.
has 6.
Let me ask you a question. Did Mike Tyson have pay-per-views? Yes.
Yes.
Buster Douglas Tyson was not pay-per-view. They're smart. They're not being smart. What you said before.
Exactly. You got to
A
mix
fight
and match.
like you gotta
Every
mix and
fight
match.
wasn't on pay-per-view.
Right.
You know?
It was great. It was great numbers.
Because you got to build it up. You got to
Right.
build up the excitement.
They would put every
and then
damn
people want to
thing-
do it. The major, like back in it was the major
Yes, the
fights.
Super Bowls, the
And then
WrestleManias.
Then it got to be a point where every
Everybody.
Floyd fight was a
What
pay-per-view.
was it? Thurman
But before
against
that,
who did he fight last? It was on-
Mario Barrios.
Why would
That
you
should-
put it on pay-per-view, Lou?
Exactly.
Put that on.
Well,
ESPN.
back in the day, it was worse than pay-per-view. Pay-per-view is cheap compared to closed-circuit TV when I used to have to go to the Civic Arena or somewhere else to watch a closed-circuit fight. You know,
Yeah, but I think what Luther-
the broadcast would go out and everything.
Yeah, I know.
else,
Yeah,
and
with
they had
with
your money.
freeze.
Yeah.
You're right.
You're,
But
dating,
like with
yourself,
Luther-
you're dating yourself, Jim.
Watching it on the
You're
screen.
dating
Hey, the
yourself,
first
Joe.
WrestleMania,
Yeah.
the first WrestleMania, we were going to go to the Civic Arena,
Yes.
right? But
Date
instead,
yourself.
we went to Community College Beaver County. A lot of people went to Civic Arena. If you remember, the damn thing fell at the Civic Arena. It didn't work. It froze. Then they had to show the free thing. Banana Dawn and somebody else did the, the play, not the play-by-play, but were the hosts of the WrestleMania because it shut down at Civic Arena. But again, I
guys
just
date
think
yourselves, man.
1985.
We didn't went back to closed circuit.
85, I think it was, yeah. But my whole thing is, I just think that it's a crime that you put all these fights on pay-per-view. I agree with Luther.
Yeah, we
Tank
got-
Davis Romero should not be pay-per-view. Bivol, Canelo, I don't know
That's
about
not
that.
pay-per-view.
No. Fury Whyte, no.
None of these, all these 4 fights.
Okay.
I don't think any of them
Spence
really.
Crawford, yes.
Yes, but
Wilder-
these 4 fights.
Wilder,
no.
Fury,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, but Spence, Ugas, Fury, Whyte, Canelo, Bivol, Davis, Romero. None of those
Yeah,
should be on
I'm good with
pay-per-view.
you, yeah.
And if you had those fights already, you could build more of an audience because everybody could see it.
Exactly. I'm
You know, but it's all about the money and pay-per-view. You know.
WWE don't seem to have a problem.
But what do they do all month? What do? They have free stuff to build it,
they build
and
it up.
they all month. So you got to see
They promote
this
it,
guy,
Jim.
this guy,
And
this
WrestleMania
wrestling.
is a
Come on.
brand.
It's a brand.
The
it's
WrestleMania
fake.
name itself
Yeah.
is a brand. They can put whoever there, and it's going to sell. The boxing's going to have to do a better job of it. And we love
Exactly.
boxing. And I said a couple
And
shows
it's-
ago,
but you see, they have all the free shows building up to the
Right.
pay-per-view. That's what
The
needs to do
in-house
in boxing.
attendance is doing
free
well.
shows to build up to the pay-per-view. Everything's leading up to that one date, and I think that's where boxing's missing out.
well, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Roy Jones Jr. Promotion, where he's Sons of Legends. We're right back with the boxing authorities. Welcome back to the Boxing Authorities. Roy Jones, I think, has an interesting promotion coming up. Pay-per-view, $29.99. I'd rather it not be pay-per-view. But it's Sons of Legends. Roberto Duran Jr. is fighting. Gerald McClellan is fighting. Mike the Bounty Hunter. I didn't know he had a son old enough to fight. Steve U.S. Cunningham Jr., that's your boy. You talked about him numerous times. And the main event is Kenzie Morrison, who's 19-2-2 against, with 17 knockouts against Hasim Rahman Jr., who's 12-0-6 for the WBC US NBC heavyweight title. Let's first talk about the, Roberto Duran Jr., obviously the father is who he is. How hard is it? I know Bruno Sammartino, talk about wrestling, for me, the greatest wrestling champion of all time. His son was a damn good wrestler, David, but never quite made it to that main event level. How hard is it for a guy, for any of these guys, especially Roberto Duran Jr.?
We've seen a lot of guys have great, dads, and we look at Roberto Duran Jr. with a one-punch KO there. It's very hard. I mean, you see it in every sport. You look at Michael Jordan's sons, couldn't do it. Look at Magic.
Yogi Berra for baseball.
Yeah, right. All these guys, Magic sons, Isaiah Thomas's sons. It's hard to follow a legend.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, these guys had their work cut out for them. I don't know if any of them are going to get to the point that they're, but I do see U.S. Cunningham Jr. He has a lot of talent, was ranked nationally number 1 or 2, and he's been in it since birth. I don't know how many of these other guys have been in it since birth, but he has the look. He has the size. Him and his brother have been doing it for years. So,
Jim, now you followed Steve U.S. Cunningham Jr., and you talked about him a few shows ago. Your thoughts on him? in his career.
I don't know if he's more famous for being the son of a champion or being a gateway gator.
Oh, nobody knows about Gateway.
But I clearly think he could be the best to ever come out of this area.
Woo, best ever.
Roberto Duran is known for two things. One, for knocking out a horse with one punch, and two, for beating the heck out of Sugar Ray Leonard.
Hands of stone.
But he beat him so bad his wife fainted.
Oh, God.
Then again,
Come on now.
That could have been the first time she seen Bivol Bryson. But you know Michael Hunter, and we all know Michael Hunter.
Yeah.
Michael Hunter is an outstanding heavyweight.
But this
right
is,
now.
I think,
No, that's
it's him, actually,
It's
him?
His dad was a champ. His dad died in 2006. Yeah, the
I
bounty
stand corrected.
hunter.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
his
this is
dad.
the Michael
This
Bounty.
is Bounty
Okay, my
Hunter
fault.
that we know. Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
I mean, he could have started early. He probably got a few like Wilder. Wilder used to have daycare in his high school. But listen, we know.
Sick.
But most of these guys is coming along, really at an older age.
yeah,
in the
Roberto
fight.
Jr. is
But
older, yeah.
like I
but
said,
not Cunningham.
it didn't hurt Archie Manning, who had kids. Didn't hurt Clay Matthews and Bruce Matthews. So it should be a benefit for these guys to have that tutelage.
Okay.
Kenzie Morrison, I mean, Tommy Morrison was one of my favorite fighters. I think we have some highlights of Kenzie. I mean, it's hard. I mean, his dad was a great knockout artist. Like you said, Tommy started late. He's another guy, loves knocking out guys. Not fighting the greatest competition right now, but he's putting them out, putting them to sleep.
When those arms go rubbery.
But he's solid. I like the shorts. He came in there with the Rocky trunks, just knocking brothers out. I love it. I mean, it should be a great
Love
fight. Lot of power in both hands. I mean, we'll see, but it's a lot to live up to, man. His dad had some exciting fights. Even the fights he lost were exciting.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Going too soon, but I loved it. Wow, look at that overhand right, just punishing the body. See, he can't take those body shots either, Jill. As you saw a
He's
lot
white.
of these guys.
Now, a fight that Luther, speaking of fathers and sons, that you had watched, and that's Gabe Rosado against Sugar Shane Mosley Jr. Your thoughts on that fight?
Listen, Shane Mosley Jr. had some losses early in his career, but it finally looked like it clicked against Gabe Rosado. Gabe Rosado fought some great fighters. He's a journeyman, but he had a tough fight against Jamie Mungia a couple months ago. Shane Mosley looked good. The jab was good. He showed his athleticism. I'd like him and Jamie Mungia to fight. I think that would be a solid fight for those
So
two
you
guys.
think he's a contender?
Yeah, I think he can be a player. I don't know if he's ever going to be a champ, but he could be a player, sure.
Does he belong in Smoking Jim's no?
Jim got 1,000 people in there. Yeah, he should be on that list.
All right.
But
No, I'm sorry.
no, I mean, I think he has a solid future, though.
All right. Now, not a son, but a grandson of the greatest. Nico Ali Walsh is going to be opening up. He's 4-0 and 3 knockouts. Will fight opening bout at the ESPN. Now, this is what we're talking about. Valdez is fighting Shakur Stevenson on ESPN. Great.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic idea to have him on. That's April 30th. It's not going to be pay-per-view, and I think it's a great idea. Yeah. And he's opening up that fight against Alejandro Ibarra, who's 7-1, 2 knockouts. Your thoughts on Ali Walsh climbing the ladder, and he's getting exposure.
Well, I see the magic.
You see
I'm
what
one of the
magic?
few- I see the magic in
What magic you see?
Nico Ali.
Seeing things.
He's 4-0 with 3 knockouts. He's still a little raw, but the material is there.
You think
the
so?
work ethic is there. I think that he's on the right course. He's doing the right thing. But Ali got another grandson. They call him the Dominican Muhammad Ali. And he wears Ali on his trunks.
That ain't his son.
Miguel Rivera.
That ain't his son,
So Ali traveled all over the world.
Get out of here, man.
I mean, he looked like an Ali. But this is a guy that's a lightweight, that's 23-0. He reminds me of a combination between Sugar Ray Leonard and Tico Trinidad. So
Tito.
Tito, man.
Tito.
Jim will butcher a name in a minute.
Who
Tito.
the hell?
Remember
You talking about
that
Tika.
name? Miguel Rivera. Have you ever seen him,
Of
Luke?
course, we
He's
talked
great.
about him. Yeah, he walks in there with the Ali,
Yeah.
has the same box haircut as Ali.
yeah.
But we're talking about Nico.
But do you
And
like him, though?
Oh,
Do you-
yeah, I like Rivera.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I like him more than I like Nico. I don't see the magic. When you talk about magic, I think I'm watching Sixth Sense or something. I don't know. I don't see it. He's another top-ranked hype job, Jim. There's no magic. I saw him do the
speaking of
Ali
hype
shuffle,
jobs-
and I completely fell off. No.
Speaking of hype jobs, Frank Mayweather, or is it Floyd? What is it, Frank or Floyd? Floyd Mayweather is fighting 42-year-old dangerous
Man, he
Dan
look older
Moore.
than 42.
Listen to this.
He look older than Floyd.
Dan
helipad.
Moore never. He should be on a helipad. So they get him the hell out of there. He never fought a guy with a winning record.
Yeah.
And why Floyd picked this guy, I don't know.
Listen, man. Listen, Dan Moore. He was loyal to
yeah.
Roger Mayweather. That was his trainer.
Good.
And this is a great payday for him. This
Right,
this
but why
fight
would he
here
even
is going
have
to make
him?
him more money than he's made
No
his
question.
whole career.
Why would Floyd want this?
He needs the money.
Who?
Floyd.
But why him?
Now you in his pockets, Jim. Come on, man.
But there's no interest in this fight, Luke.
There's no
is there?
interest, but listen, it's a way to get his guy paid. Dan Moore's going to make a great paycheck,
Yeah.
and
Put him on
Floyd
the undercard.
loves to put on a show. So I
Does
don't know.
Floyd need the money?
I don't know. I'm not in his pockets, but I know it's a great payday for Dan Moore.
I mean, there's talk about what's his name, Jake Paul fighting Tyson for $30 million. That's going to have interest. I'd love to. I mean, I don't think it's a contest. I think Tyson kills him, but they're going to make a ton of money. But there's other guys. Why don't he fight De La Hoya? That would draw a lot of interest. Dan Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, well, how much is that going to make? If you're going to fight and train, I think De La Hoya, that would be a hell of a fight. That would have more interest in this fight.
See, the thing is, anybody that Floyd fights will make a lot of money because
Yeah,
people
but-
want to see Floyd get knocked out. They haven't seen Floyd go down since Spatafora knocked him down. in
Oh,
training,
here you
and
go.
Floyd begged to quit, and they wouldn't let him quit.
You have
in
footage of that,
training.
Jim?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
wanna see
our
that
popular segment, The Pocket Watchers, with Jim and Claudio. Now, the boxing mailbag at yahoo.com. Please continue to send your great comments and questions to boxingmailbag@yahoo.com and on my website and on my show, ClaudioRelsana.com. Jim and Claudio. I like this one. This is Johnny from Miami. Not kidding when I say you guys should manage fighters, Luther. He didn't say Luther.
You wrote that.
I was, no, I
You wrote that question
I
yourself.
did.
Next
No,
question.
I was a
please.
fighter,
Next
and to be
question.
honest with you, could have had a better career if things were done right. I think both
was
of
a
you
bum.
would be very
He must have been sea level. Oh, I'm sorry. Finish the question.
okay. I think I would have been very good at it. Would you really consider it? I met you both. He met us both at the fights when they were in Pittsburgh on the bridge. Cool brothers. I didn't write that, so thank you very much. So what's the question? I guess it's just a comment. Well, we would definitely manage a fight, and we would include Luther because we love Luther. No, we ain't gonna include Luther.
Listen, man. Yeah, that's a guy that probably didn't have much.
We just give
He was-
him a
Jim's
stimulus.
Luther's
We give
ripping
him
on
a
our fans.
stimulus.
What's that?
We're giving a stimulus.
Luther's ripping on our
Listen,
fans.
man,
You can't
there's-
do that.
There's a lot of guys.
Thank
who
you,
take,
Jim.
There's a lot of guys who take L's in their career and they blame it on, the manager has pushed me too. No, you just didn't have it.
If you're
sometimes.
under 40, Jim and I will still manage you, and we'll get you through. We'll get you through. This
Fighting
is Luther.
setups,
Luther
tomato
and
cans.
Claudio. Doc from New York. I watched
Doc,
you.
what's
I watched
up?
you on Steel City Sports World, and you guys had debate about is it coaches or players. We didn't debate. We agreed. But is it trainers or boxers? Which is more important?
I think you have to have something there. It's always the boxers, but trainers can get a guy to a certain level. You look at a guy like Earl Spence has a great trainer in James.
But he has the ability.
He
though.
has the ability, but he also had Michael Brown, and Michael Brown got destroyed by Better Believe and quit.
Right.
So you have to have tools there. It's always the players. The talent can push you to the max, but the player has the
Dr.
talent.
Spin is
I
in.
agree
It's always
with
the
you.
players. It's the
You're-
fighters.
You real quick, fighter or trainer. I agree with Luther. You got to have the horses. You have the ability.
Fighter.
All right. As
You agreed
always,
with me finally, Jim.
we and Jim, forget
Fine.
about Luther. We love the fans. Luther
We
does
love the
too.
fans,
All
but
right.
if you don't have it, you don't have
You
it.
don't have it. As always, we hope you enjoy our show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities.